I honestly am awaiting the next expose into the state of Lucasfilm because I don't think it's far behind, honest, because they have gone through such production issues and creative issues and so many filmmakers and writers leaving productions, so many movies announced that were subsequently canceled. It's because they don't have competent people in charge. They're not hiring competent people. They're not working together also. Everyone's doing their own thing. So when it comes to Star Wars, I mean, Andor doesn't really seem to fit with anything else. Andor doesn't seem to fit at all with how Obi-Wan's story unfolded. It doesn't feel like they exist in the same universe. And that's kind of sad, especially like the different tone across all of these different shows is so drastically different. The way it's shot, the way the stories are told, it just doesn't seem to fit together. And you have many hands in the cookie jar doing their own thing. And Kathleen Kennedy she has said time and time again, she wants whoever she hires, just do your own thing. Make your kind of Star Wars show, make your kind of Star Wars movie. When it should be, just make the Star Wars movie in line with the mythology that was created, George Lucas's foundation. We don't need to see Rian Johnson's versions of Star Wars, J.J. Abrams' version. Did you hear that Kenobi supposedly only had a $90 million budget? Yes, I did, and I remember thinking at the time, how does this show get such a paltry budget? Obi-Wan was one of the shows I was looking forward to the most. I was so hopeful. I had such high hopes for that because I really was excited for them to dive into this point of Obi-Wan's life. I thought it was a great opportunity for a more serious take about the Force, examining the Force and the more spiritual aspects of it, because we haven't really had that at all with Disney's subsequent takeover of it. They don't know how to treat the Force. They don't know what it is. They don't know what it does. And you can tell there's just no established lore, that everyone's just going about doing their own interpretation of what the Force is. So I was excited to see a return of examining someone who's dealing with the repercussions of Order 66, especially in regards to Obi-Wan. And I thought it would be a great opportunity for them to do visions, Force visions, examining alternate paths, alternate futures. And to see Obi-Wan kind of go on this metaphysical pilgrimage with Qui-Gon as his guide to get to a point where he can reconcile the past and move forward, having a hope for the future in Anakin's children. That's what I thought it was going to be. So when they said there was going to be this battle together of Darth Vader and Obi-Wan, I assumed, or what I hoped, was that this was going to be in a vision. Because they can do so many epic things in kind of a Force vision world. And I think that could have been an amazing opportunity. But they needed money to do that, and they didn't want to give them money, one. They also didn't have a story to tell. I don't know if this is true, but because of the storylines with the Mandalorian and Grogu, they had a writer, they had a story, that they had writers and reshoots, and different writers come in and do new scripts, and then changed it to an Obi-Wan Leia situation. It was just a mess. It was the most important show for them to get right. You could tell that show was so cheaply made. There were some scenes that it looked like they went out into a construction site. That first meeting between Obi-Wan and Darth Vader, it looked like they were in a materials yard. And honestly, I don't know what they spent the $90 million on. Because the creator was $80 million. Yeah, I don't see it. I don't know what they spent that money on. But also when you compare, because shortly after that, I think Andor premiered, and even the trailers, you can tell, like, they just spent way much more money. It looked so much better quality. Fans have been so mistreated. The Obi-Wan series was only good at best because of that final battle at the end, and a certain scene. Won't spoil for those who haven't watched it yet. That was the best part, I will say, but even then I had issues with it because the lighting was bad. You could hardly see anything, and it definitely, like, was this Dave Filoni film this? Because it's all smoke. But there was one part, especially with Hayden Christensen, where the performance was really good. But I feel like this could have been done in a vision, and it would have looked cooler, and it wouldn't have broken anything as far as continuity went. I don't know, it just really felt forced that they were trying to connect it to the original films, and they just weren't doing it well. It just felt unnecessary that you didn't have to do that. You didn't have to fill the plot holes that weren't really there. You didn't have to address it in the first place. Obi-Wan should have been a low-key, slow-burn drama, not a chance to bash action figures together like a 5-year-old. Exactly, and I went on a rant about this, about how these creatives are just treating these characters like toys. And yes, exactly. They're like, oh, it's the rematch of the century. That's how Kathleen Kennedy described it. The Obi-Wan series was such a missed opportunity for far deeper storytelling than what we got. Exactly. Like I said before, it could have been such a deep character study and very somber, but also positive. I mean, it was an intriguing part of Obi-Wan's life, and obviously he must have had a ton of like baggage from Order 66 and losing his friend. But not only that, just the repercussions of Order 66. Like, he probably had like PTSD. Anyone would. And to see, yeah, that deep character study, see him reconcile that, and to go on this, like I said, this pilgrimage via the Force, and that could have been so deep and such a great character study, an opportunity for that. And to come out on the other side at peace and content, reconciling with his own actions, that he couldn't have changed anything, that he did his best, but also that there is hope for the future. Kind of like that, just to go through fire and all this challenges to get to this place where you're at peace and one with the Force again and ready to usher in the next generation, the hope for the future in Luke. So, but like you said, no, just toys they're playing with.